Hello, everybody, and welcome back to today's episode of Eat the Rich. So I figured out the strategy for killing off characters. It's not getting in fights and stabbing them. It's just poking them gently and then just failing to heal them for the rest of the game. So it's good. I'll see if I can critically fail any more leeching tests for you, Blue Jay, and you'll just slowly wither away. How many brawn? How many brawn do you have? How long before you die of infection?
Okay, so like considering I have 36 brawn now.
Yeah.
It was my second highest stat, and now it's my lowest one. Just immediately.
And you'll lose if it doesn't work, you'll lose one every day.
I lose 1% every day that you can't treat it, and then if you get another critical fail, I lose 6%.
It'll take you about a month to die slowly in bed of this infection.
Yes.
Oof, grim. Grim. This is why people used to die of toothaches, everybody.
Yep.
So thankfully you have your brave friends to save you.
Yeah. My brave friends who care a lot about me.
So Dawn and Vander, you are standing at the door to a ramshackle hut underneath the bridge, standing in the mud, being barked at by a tiny dog. And we fade back in on Vander knocking on the door, and you hear from the other side a sort of muffled, and then some shuffling, and then a click, another click, some more sounds of locks opening, and then the door swings open. And what's funny about this to you, Vander, is that there's like at least 3 locks on this door, but you're pretty sure you could kick a hole in the wall real easy.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's the clattering of latches, and then the door swings open a little bit, and you see the tiny, wizened, potato-like face of the hermit of Underbridge. There is an ancient old man. He appears to be somewhere in the range of like 5.5 feet tall, and he is he's wearing a bunch of like rags layered over top of one another. He has the Mr. Burns, where the top is bald, but then he has the side hair and it's all very long. And
like Mr. Burns with his nails grown out.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so
I believe the term is Mr. Filch.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, or the guy from Rocky Horror. That guy. I can't remember his name, but yeah. So his face covered. All of his skin is covered in either dirt or liver spots or both. And he has these long fingers, and he smells like formaldehyde. I don't know if Vander knows what that smells like, but he smells bad.
Yeah.
And so he peers out with these sort of like jaundiced eyes. He's like, "What do you want?"
I've heard that you are able to provide remedies, help people. Here to buy one.
And so you can see him like kind of waiting for you to get to it, and then you say buy, and he's like, customers. And he opens the door, and he's like, come in.
Yeah, reluctantly enters the creepy cabin.
Duck down very low so I can get into the shack.
Okay, so the two of you come in. The shack is pretty much what you expect. It's somewhere between like deeply invested hoarder and alchemy shop. So lots of piles of stuff that is either so unusual that you don't know what it's used for, or it's just trash. It's impossible to tell the difference. There are like half full bottles of stuff all over the place. He has several books piled up in one corner. You think the books are actually holding up that wall. And then there is he doesn't seem to have a bed. He just seems to like, there's some piles of garbage that have vaguely human shaped indents in them that he looks like he sleeps in sometimes. And then he's got this wooden table in the center of the room covered in piles of stuff. And he looks like he's in the middle of making something. He's got like some piles of powder and some vials and stuff. And when you come in, you look around. He's like, I know. It's very impressive. But tell me, what affliction do you seek to cure?
A friend of mine's dying of infection, of a wound.
And what?
Tried using leeches, it didn't work.
Yeah.
That old biddy in the church doesn't know what she's doing. You went to her, right?
Well, my friend did.
Nods. Well, all right. Now, are you looking to attempt to help your friend return to the land of the living, or is this more of an ease the passage into the afterlife situation? Because you don't need to be down here for that last one. Just a pillow on the face, Just apply some pressure. She'll give up right quick.
Keep that in mind. No, we want to mend her if we can.
It's not going to be cheap. You understand that?
Don't think you can use my friend's life to haggle with me. I don't value it that highly.
Everything has a price. So I'll tell you what it is and you decide if that's how much she's worth.
Money can always walk out the door too, just as easily as come in. And like, this is all amble.
Yeah.
She's happy to hear him.
And he looks at you and he's like, you're a shrewd one. And then looks over at Dawn. Like, you're an ogre, aren't you?
This is true.
I know. I've seen your kind once or twice before.
Really?
He shrugs. I wasn't always an old man living under a bridge.
Oh. What were you before?
I was an old man who lived in a house. And he goes over to the shelf and he starts taking things down. And he's like, no, that'll kill her. This'll definitely kill her. Let's try one of these. And so he's like grabbing bottles and kind of like assembling things on the table. And so as he's doing this, you get kind of a chance to like look around and sort of wait. And so let's talk mechanically. What do we need to fix you? So Lucia, if you take laudanum before the next leeching, it'll make the test easier, right? Like what are you, seriously wounded?
Here's the thing. The thing is that because I am infected, I cannot move recover steps on the damage condition track.
All right.
I can't.
So the
laudanum would do nothing.
The laudanum is for after. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So he puts a glass bottle on the table, and on the front of it, it has a label that's probably like a scantily clad like fairy creature, and they're like bright green and like giving off kind of a glow on the label. And he sets it down and slides it to you, and he says, if she survives, you can give her this. She'll be out of it for a few days, but she'll feel better. But the infection, that's another thing. It's not so much about the quality of the leeches as it is the hands that are applying them. You have to know where to put them. You can't just stick them all over wherever you like. What I'm saying is this is going to become a house call, and I don't do those cheap.
Could you teach me
What,
how to apply leeches?
Teach who? This one? You got hams for hands. No. You want someone with a mastery of the delicate arts. Someone with dexterity, practice, skill. Someone like me. So, if you want this person to survive, you need me to come up there with you. You're going to have to pay for it.
Will that old nun let you in the church?
You're going to have to convince her. We don't see eye to eye, she and me. But if you convince her, look at you. You're young, clearly whip smart. You can find a way to bamboozle an old nun into letting me come around the body. And future body. Person. Living person. No, if you want, we could cut a deal. If she does die and you leave me the body, we could waive some of those fees.
Yeah, Vander shrugs. Fair enough.
Good. Let me get you a contract. And he starts digging through a pile of papers and books. And eventually, he takes a piece of paper and it's got some writing on it already, which he just like crosses out with a quill and writes void next to it. And then, he writes up a quick arrangement where you're going to pay him and he's going to try to help your friend. He's going to sell you some laudanum for after. But there's a corollary that if your friend dies, he's going to waive the visitation fee if you deliver the body to him. So let's get a price list together here. So how much is laudanum?
Laudanum is 4 gold crowns.
Okay. How much laudanum would you like to buy? I'm guessing 1 or maybe 0.
0 laudanum.
Ah, okay. All right. So
And we
can't.
we do trust that this is laudanum that he is actually giving us.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
that's more than Vander can afford, so I'm not going to commit us to spending 4 gold that I don't have. I have 1 gold and that's it.
I don't know if you would know this, but Lucia had 6 gold in her bag and already owns half a tent. So,
and I have
wow, it's an impressive will.
Yeah.
After I bought a tent, I have 8 gold crowns.
Okay, so we now know laudanum is, what did we say, 4 gold a bottle, right? 4 gold a dose
for a draught. Yeah.
Okay, so that's laudanum. And then is there that anybody knows of off the top of their head? Is there like a services chart, like hiring a doctor?
Good
there are services.
Okay, yeah, because I vaguely remember seeing that in the equipment chapter somewhere. So
there are wages.
Yeah. So let's look at that, and then we can make a haggle roll to or a bargain roll to try to talk him down from the
physician wages are 60 brass pennies.
Okay.
Oh.
For a day's work.
Okay. Yeah.
Which this presumably would be.
Yep. So it's material plus bandages, plus leeches, right? So 1 of each because he's bringing his own leeches. He doesn't trust those nun leeches. So how much are bandages? Sorry, give me I'm gonna go back through. So 4 for a dose for laudanum. How much was it? 30 something pennies? How many?
60 brass pennies for a physician's wages.
Okay.
So I was looking through the spells for curing these things, and there's resolving injury and expelling poison and moving up the damage or peril condition tracks, but there's nothing that says specifically infection. Is it considered an injury?
No, it's just infection. I think it's a different thing. Okay, so he's gonna try to overcharge you for the visit. So he's gonna call it 3 silver a day, right? Because he knows you're in a rough spot and the nun isn't helping you.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Hang on. So there's services as well, which is where I should have been looking.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, let's talk about that then.
Because we're not putting him on retainer. We're actually employing him for a 1-day visit.
Perfect.
Which I think is 3 silver pieces for barber surgeon visit.
Perfect. Okay. Closest. So then it is a standard rate. Okay. Yeah. All right. So 3 for each attempt. Plus, how much is bandages and how much is a thing of leeches?
A bandage by the strip is 1 silver.
Okay.
And then a bottle of leeches that's 9 uses is 3 silver.
Okay. All right. So 7 silver for each attempt. And then another 4 gold if you want any laudanum.
Lucia can buy her own laudanum once she's no
That's
longer.
right.
She can make the
send
informed
for it.
decision. I don't want to sign her up for any medication.
Okay. All right.
Lucia might be opposed based on grounds of being too tough.
I'm sorry, laudanum gives you corruption. How would I ever be opposed to that?
Yeah. All right, Lucia shotguns laudanum. So don't do that. You'll die. Laudanum is just opium drink. So, okay. Does somebody want to make a bargain roll to try to talk him back?
You have to be.
Can we bargain untrained?
No, you can't.
Okay, then no, that's
bargain.
that's the list. So yeah, he writes all these things down, and then once you get to the end of it, he's like, he gives you the money, the receipt, and he's like, well, there you go.
Banner's just like, oh, we won't need the laudanum, but the rest we'll take, and that accounts for her haggling.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and he looks at the laudanum and he's like, you say that now, but nothing is worse than somebody recovering without laudanum. They're going to be difficult. They're going to be loud. They're going to be obnoxious. There's a lot of diarrhea and vomiting. I promise you that.
Geez.
So if you want this person to be tolerable, you'll be back here for the laudanum. I promise you.
How much diarrhea are we talking?
He shrugs. It really depends on the size of the,
no.
the organs on the inside.
Would you say maybe a laundry-sized room? Perhaps.
This one time I was in this apartment building in Chicago.
You know what? I'll buy the laudanum right now. I would rather not see Lucy in pain. So I'll buy it, Vander. It's not a problem. I'm sure Lucy will pay me back.
More than I can afford, so help yourself.
Okay. All right. So it's 4 gold and 7 silver. And as you are, after you pay him, he hands you the bottle of laudanum, and he says, "Let me get my bag." And he goes over and he digs through another pile of trash, and he pulls out a leather bag and he opens it. And he puts the bandages in, and he gets a jar of leeches, and he looks at it, holds it up to the light, shakes it a little. He's like, "Yeah, still good." Puts it in his bag. And he gathers up his stuff, and he takes out his keys, and he says, "Well, no time like the present. I could die of old age tomorrow. Let's go." And he goes outside.
Yeah, and Vander will lead the way back to
immediately,
the
like, bark, bark, bark. This dog, like, on you. And he turns and he's like, "Shut up! Fucking shut up! Shut up!" And the dog is barking. And he turns and he looks at you. And then he says, as he's locking the various locks, he turns to Dawn just casually and says, "You know, when you summon a familiar, you expect it to be something impressive, like a toad or a bat or something. I got that little fucker. I swear, it's an imp in dog form, sent from hell to torment me. I don't know what I did. I'm a good man. Shut up!" And the dog's just like, bark, 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 and like running around.
Oh, Dawn just shakes her head.
Yeah. He hands you his medical bag. He's like, "Hold this for me." And he shoves it into your arms, Dawn.
I hold it like
everything's gross.
Like so.
Yeah. And so he reaches down and he hikes up his like robe skirt thing up to his knees. And he trods out into the mud over to the stick where the dog is tied up, and he unties it and he says, "Come on, dipshit." And he yanks on the rope and he walks over to you and he says, "I can't leave him alone down here. He'll just get all tied up in the rope. I'm gonna come back and he's gonna be suffocated." "We couldn't have that, could we?" And the dog's just like, bark, bark, bark. And he's like, "Shut up." And then he turns back to you and he says, "I have everything I need. Let's go."
I look at Vander.
Vander gives you the shrug of like, "You're here to deal with wizard shit. Bye," and like walks ahead.
All right, let's go.
Okay, so yeah, crossfade to outside of the church, where we know Lucia is, and you're standing there, and the guy, the hermit's got his bag, and he's got his dog on the leash, and he looks at you, Vander, and he says, "Well, go on, get convincing."
And Vander turns to Dawn and just says, "Well, do keep our friend company," and then like steps inside the church.
Okay,
and so I'll go try to convince Sister. What's her name again?
I think some of the P, Sister Providence.
Providence. There we go.
Dear Providence. Okay.
I go in looking for her. I don't know if the camera wants to follow Vander or stay.
Yeah, I think we'll go with you. Then we'll cut back, and then you can come back into the scene, right? So we'll follow Vander in. So Vander, you go back inside the church. This time in the church, you see the nun, and she's speaking to 2 kind of like woodsman-looking dudes, right? 2 kind of brawny guys with like broad shoulders. I think one of them even has like an axe like over his shoulder, big beards, and they're talking to her. And when you walk in, they look up, and one of them shoots you a look like "fuck off." And the nun kind of gives you, when they look at you, so they're not looking at her, she gives you a face that in no uncertain terms means like, careful now, right? Like, careful what you say around these guys. And they turn back and they're like, "I'm sorry, sister, but the meeting has to happen here. It's the biggest building in Crossroads. You understand." And she's like, "I hate this. I hate when you come in here and you make these demands." And the other one says, "But you've never said no to our money." And he bounces a bag of coins in one hand. And she looks at it. She looks at you and she says, "I have parishioners to attend to." And she takes the gold and she says, "Don't let me see you again. Not until your little meeting. And then be on your way." And they look, and one of them gives a little bow, and he's like, "Thank you, sister." And they walk towards you, all swaggery. And they do that thing where they're going to make you move out of their way. Unless you stand your ground. Yeah, so you move. One of them looks a little disappointed that he didn't get a chance to bully you, and they walk out. So Dawn, you and the hermit outside. The hermit is holding the rope. The dog is peeing on the side of the church, and the hermit is like, yes, yes. And he's like giggling and chuckling to himself. And these two burly dudes come out, and they look at you, and they look at the old man, and they make some remark under their breath and walk past you.
It's fine.
So
yeah.
Yeah. So inside Vander, you the nun comes over to you, and she says, they think their disguises are so good. They're not. I know what this meeting is going to be about. You need to get your friend out of here quick. I managed to keep them from seeing her, but...
Well, you're in luck. I have found someone to tend to her injuries.
Really?
He says you don't like him much, but short notice and scant other opportunities.
She sighs, and she says, Troilus doesn't remember much. For him, a day is about as much life as there is. So if you have any ongoing business with that old fool, you'll need to remind him what that business is. He's not right upstairs. I try to keep him away from the church for his own sake. I think the place bothers him. But if it helps, you can tell him we had an argument, or you convinced me, or whatever. I'd rather he believe I don't like him and he doesn't wander in here. Poor thing.
Very good then. Hopefully this will all be over quickly, one way or another.
Go and get him. And don't bring that dog in here.
And Vander shrugs like, yeah, you might insist.
Okay.
Walks out.
So yeah, you go back outside. Dawn, are you... So meanwhile, you have a few seconds. Are you talking to the old man?
Yeah, I think, seeing the dog pee and him just being his shenanigans, she'll roll her eyes a couple times and, just being fed up. And then eventually she'll just try to make conversation with him. And so she'll turn to him and, so how do you know when leeches are good leeches?
He turns and he looks, he's like, I don't believe that leeches ascribe to any sort of moral or ethical code. What is a good leech or a bad leech?
I mean, like ones that will perform well in, extracting.
Yes. You want to find the ones that look the hungriest. Now, not the big, fat, lazy ones, but not the little, thin, scrawny ones either. You've got to find the ones that really want it. They really want that blood. That's how you can tell. These ones, and he pats his bag, these are the hungriest leeches you're going to find. It's going to be harder getting them off of her than putting them on.
How do you take a leech off?
You just grab it with your little hands and you twist on it a bunch, and if it sticks, and you just give it a real pull. Sometimes its head comes off, but, sometimes you get a little chunk of person
that's
along
ticks,
with
Adam.
it.
That's ticks.
Yeah. He doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, so Dawn will keep asking him questions like this along this vein just to keep him occupied, essentially, until Vander comes back out.
Very nice of you, babysitting me, the wacky old man.
Like, how long have you had, was it dipshit?
And he nods and he says, I can't remember. I was cursed with this little flea bag some time ago. There's a lot I can't remember. Sometimes I think everything I can remember is just a dream. The mind of a sorcerer, a true magician, it's a fragile thing. One hard knock, and it all comes down like a beautiful glass window. I think I had a house with glass windows once. A big house with maids. Sexy maids. Dozens of them. They would run around in their maid outfits, all scantily clad, and they'd bring me sandwiches. What was I talking about again?
Your dreams and a sorcerer's mind.
Ah, yes. The mind of a sorcerer. It's like a steel trap. Don't put your finger in it, or you'll lose your hand.
So Vander comes outside.
Yes, please, Vander, save me. Vander, please save me.
All right, so yeah, the door to the church opens.
Yeah, and Vander's just like, she hates you, but come in anyways. Bring your dog. We're gonna help my friend.
And he like, bring your dog, and he's like, but I couldn't. And he turns and looks at the dog. You see, an imp cannot cross the threshold into holy ground, or it'll burst into flames. I don't know if you've ever smelt burnt dog, but it's not a good smell.
Well, then unfortunately, the dog will have to wait outside, I suppose.
That's
and
right.
Just kind of smugly grins at this.
Yeah, and he turns to look at the dog as if you and him are in a conspiracy against the dog, and he's just won some victory, right? Where he's like, "You hear that? You've got to stay outside, or you'll burst into flames, you fucking animal." And he takes the rope and he looks around. And he's like, "I've got to tie him to something, or he'll run off." And so he walks over to the like fence around the cemetery and ties the rope. And he comes over and he crouches down and he looks at the dog and he says, "No matter what happens, don't forget." Right then. And he gets up and he turns and he looks at you and he says, well, let's go see the patient.
Yeah, and Vander leads the way.
Okay. All right. So he comes inside and he makes a face when he walks in. He's like, ugh, looks around. And I think that Sister Providence has made herself scarce. So she's kind of like doesn't want to have a conversation. So he makes a face and shakes his hand. He's like, nah, waste of good real estate. Churches. Pfft. And yeah, he heads over to the stairs and the two of you lead him upstairs.
Yeah, show him where Lucia is.
Yeah, now Dawn, you haven't seen Lucia yet.
Yeah.
She is in a bad way. She's just sweaty and exhausted and lying there. If it were colder out, she'd be steaming. And yeah, there is this stink of death in this room.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I'm glad we brought this highly trained doctor to
yeah,
fix our friend.
And yeah, he comes around the corner and comes up the stairs and he's like, oh, it stinks up here. Oh dear, she is definitely going to die. I mean, if I don't do anything, I'll fix it. But oh goodness, oh, she's terrible. Oh, and she's huge too. Oh, the big ones always stink worse. Oh boy. Ugh. I live in the mud and this is bad. Oh, I can't see. Someone give me a handkerchief.
No one gives him a handkerchief.
Yeah, and he just blinks and he's like, no. And he grabs the edge of his robe and like daubs at his eyes. He's like, oh, you poor disgusting creature. Oh, and he comes over and he drags the stool and he drags it very slowly so it squeaks all the way across the floor and he sits down and he says, well, dear. He like takes your sweaty hand, Lucia, and he says, "You're going to be all right." He looks over his shoulder at Vander and like winks, like, "You're going to be just fine, sweetheart. Everything's going to be all right. I know you're in terrible, terrible, terrible pain right now, but soon you'll feel much better. Your friends bought you some laudanum. Aren't you excited about that?"
Who are you?
Oh, don't worry about that, my dear. It's just your old Uncle Troilus. And he like rubs your hand. It's going to be all right.
Uncle.
Yes, don't you remember me, dear? Now just lie still and try not to fidget too much. I'm going to put some leeches on you. Oh dear, it seems you've already been leeched several times. Well, And he turns and looks at Vander and Don is like, could you fetch this poor creature a snack? She's going to need something to eat if she's going to get through this.
Yeah, and Vander is happy to be out of these close quarters, etc.
Do you need help, Vander? I could help you bring.
Come along if you want.
Okay. Yeah, the two of you want to leave?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you
Wow.
go just to get some fresh air.
Yeah.
Friends.
We're getting you food.
Yeah, okay.
I thought you loved them.
So here's what happens, right? So he's sitting, he's got his bag next to him. He opens the bag and he reaches in.
Oh.
And Dawn, did you take the laudanum or do you leave it here with him?
I would have asked, does he need it right now?
Yeah, he probably would have been like, leave it here so that I can
okay, yeah.
continue treating her. If this works, we'll give it to her and she'll feel better. Okay. So
yeah.
he looks at you and he starts muttering to himself, rubbing his hands together, and he takes out the bandages and sets them on a side table. And he takes out his leeches and sets those down. And he talks to them a little bit. He's like, "Who's pretty? Who's a pretty bunch of leeches? Are you ready to suck some blood? Of course you are." And then he takes the thing of laudanum out and he opens it and he looks at it and he's like, and drinks a little, and then puts it down. And he's like, "Gotta have steady hands." And he kind of looks and he's like, rolls his sleeves up, and on his arms we can see these like ancient faded blue like tattoos. Like they had a pattern at one point, but they've all long since faded into a blurry mess on his skin. So he rolls up his sleeves and he cracks his fingers, and he puts his hands on his head, and he says, "Winds of magic, hear me. Before your command, it is I, Eminence Troilus Mordred Greyshanks, Master of the Infinite Recursion, Lord of the Seven Winds of Magic, High Sorcerer of the Court of Steel and Shadows, Archon of Flame and Ice, Conjurer Supreme of something. Hold on, I've got this. The spirits. And then he farts loudly. And seems to surprise himself. And he's like, What was I saying? Oh, yes, you poor dear. Let's get these leeches on you. And he opens the jar and he starts applying the leeches and seems to have forgotten his momentary speech as he goes back to tending to you.
Okay. Well, technically you have to wait 24 hours before trading again, but we're doing Westworld time.
Yeah,
so.
It's fine. It's totally fine. Yeah, you could have been laying here sweaty and dying for 24 hours before Mr. Belvedere was like, "Where's that idiot?"
Yeah, and all you got to do is just debit yourself one more point of the thing because you've waited 24 hours.
Oh, right.
It would be 7 total. Yeah, right. Because 6 for the loss, 24 hours pass, another shot at it. Or is it the first 24 hours after that one?
I think that it says if the infection is not properly treated within 24 hours, but you're trying to treat it right now. So I think that
okay. So if this is a fail, it's 1%.
If this is not successful, then it's 1%. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, he sits down and he starts bandaging and stapling and leeching and what have you.
It's a challenging.
He considers trepanation briefly. Thankfully, he is somewhat better at this than the nun. So
who would have thought?
Let's see.
Oops. Mine like a steel trap.
Yeah. It's a steel trap that's open on one end.
It's closed and rusted shut. Like,
yeah. All right. So D100, I need a 75% chance, 75 or lower.
Please, God. If you get another 99, I'm quitting. Nice.
Nice.
Very nice. That's a social critical.
Okay. So he leeches from you with his special river leeches that he has. You are no longer infected.
Yes.
And so he then immediately feeds you a dose of laudanum.
Okay.
As a follow up. So you take a corruption.
Take that one corruption and move one up the.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Move one condition. Yeah. Okay. I'm now only moderately wounded. Look at me go.
Okay. All right. So you're moderately wounded. You're also high as a kite because you just took a bunch of laudanum. So you are chasing the dragon now.
And the fever is not gone entirely also. Yeah. So like delirious into a different kind of delirious.
Yeah. So once he's done, once an hour passes, I guess Vander and Dawn, where do you go? Do you just leave completely or?
I mean, we're supposed to get her food, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. We buy some soup. And then Vander sends Dawn back with the soup. Or tries to anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
If you're willing to put up with that, I don't know. Vander's been a huge dick to Dawn all day.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was wondering. So while this is
continuously.
Yeah, while this is happening, we can cut back to Vander and Dawn. And sorry, Mr. Belvedere, but you're in your room recovering, so it's kind of hard to include you in things.
I have to spend 9 days in bed recovering, using that time to also teach Clifford a new trick because it takes 9 days.
Nice.
So we'll have a cut to about what
yeah.
Mr. Belvedere was doing.
Yeah. Why don't we do that now, right? When Vander and Don leave, Lucia gets better. We cut to Mr. Belvedere teaching his dog tricks from bedside. Yeah, so what does that look like? Frame the scene for me, Mr. Belvedere.
I'm in bed and I have a chair that's like a distance away from me.
Yeah.
And I've got like put a bunch of like stuffed animals on it, and like I'm moving it away and I'm like going, Clifford, guard them. Clifford, guard them. And the moment he does, I'm like, good boy, Clifford. And I take out a little treat and I hand it to him. And so like that's exactly what you see.
Okay, all right. So we can make the roll now, and then at the end of the days. So the creature is currently not wounded. Mm-hmm. So let's see. Oh, you automatically succeed on that test. Now with a successful handle animal test, which you don't need to roll because Clifford is in good shape. Do you spend the 100 reward points to permanently teach the command to Clifford?
Yes.
Nice. All right. So Clifford now has watch out and guard them.
Guard them.
Nice. All right. So you're teaching Clifford how to guard stuffed animals, and then later your friends. Nice. Okay. Cool. All right. So that's what Mr. Belvedere's up to. It's very wholesome. Meanwhile, Vander and Dawn, you leave the church, and I assume you're headed back towards the inn where Mr. Belvedere is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's where we get.
Are you talking on the way, or?
Well, I guess I would. Oh yeah.
I just wanted to we haven't forgotten the whole the Hawk and Hidings people are gonna be at the church thing, right?
Yeah, you're gonna need to get moved.
Right.
Soon.
I just I didn't realize we were on the way to get food and not that's already handled.
No. I just wanted to make sure because like Andrew pointed out, Vander has been kind of a dick to Dawn, and I wanted to see if there was a follow-up scene to our first one.
Oh yeah. Let's do it. I just didn't remember what time it was.
Gotcha. Okay. So we're walking back to get what is Vander, do you know what Lucy likes to eat?
Vander kind of shrugs. Whatever she can get.
Do you think I've seen her eating beef jerky? I think that would be something nice for her, but I'm not sure that would be good for her stomach. So probably soup. So we could pick up some soup. So this is literally what Donna's just talking out loud as she's walking. Yeah.
I was like, well, you remember what the old man said, don't you?
What was it? He said a lot of things.
Yeah, he really did.
About her digestion.
Oh, Lord, yes. So maybe something more fibrous, maybe not something so, okay, so bread, crackers, okay. And it's that would probably be good. All right.
Yeah.
Vander shrugs. She's not staying with me, so it's not my problem.
Oh, well, am I the one who's going to be taking care of Lucy?
We were all in a shared room before.
Yeah.
Just chuck her in bed with Mr. Belvedere. It's fine. Big bed full of grandpas.
Come on in. There's so much space. We can have 4 more people in here.
So having my room turned into a sick bed. Who knows if what she has is catching? Says Vander, not knowing much about how medicine works.
Right. I caught a stab wound from her.
In terms of the infection.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Be clear.
Well, I also I don't know if you know this about me by now, but I don't have the strongest of constitutions. So I don't know how well I'll fare looking after what's happening with Lucy. Is actually kind of thinking about the things the old man has said.
Yeah.
Already getting a little faint.
Already getting a little sick about the thought of it.
Yep.
Vander just kind of scoffs like, "Oh, keep it together."
Dawn everywhere is me in a hospital. Like just that like, oh, God, please let me leave. I hate it here.
I want to get out of this room. Yeah. Would you be willing to help with taking care of this? I don't think I can do it by myself. And we need Lucy to be better. We really do. You know that she needs to get better.
Fine.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
We also need to move her tonight.
Oh, okay. Why is the church not sufficient?
The Hockenheiding's men have meetings at the church. They're having one tonight, tomorrow, something like that.
I think it's reasonable to just say it's tonight.
Okay.
If they find her there, they'll certainly kill her. They'll also find out about us.
All right. Well, then we
let that happen.
Well, we should move her immediately.
Also, I'll be attending the meeting.
Oh. Well,
we need to get information, don't we?
Yes. Okay.
Vander shrugs. So
We
take
should
care of her for tonight, and I'll do the rest.
I think we have a pin from one of the guys. I think we took their pin off of them as well.
Yeah, you do. Nice.
Okay. I will take care of Lucy tonight, get her out of the church if you're willing to help me the rest of the time.
Vander says, "Of course," lying through her teeth.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So there's a montage of me back at the inn putting bread into a sack and stealing myself and like washing my hands and washing myself of stuff and just getting ready to deal with Lucy's oncoming horribleness that I'm going to witness.
Yeah, and like I think that we can kind of fast forward through like you go and take Lucy back to the inn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Put her into bed. Lucy, you are, for as long as the like laudanum lasts, everything's great. You feel much better. You're walking on clouds. Yeah, so you get brought back. Mr. Belvedere, they return with Lucia looking bandaged up and
and then we snuggle.
Dentist.
Yeah, we plop the two of them.
Yeah.
Now we're the two grandpas in the bed like from Willy Wonka.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the recovery bed.
It's okay. I haven't had to share a blanket in a while, but I'm sure we'll get the hang of it. It's fine.
Yeah, and Vander just says something like, "Make sure she keeps breathing."
And then Vander, are you gonna head for the meeting?
Yeah, and again, she like is in the room and then leaves immediately. Doesn't spend any extra time to be like, "Oh, Lucy, you're okay." She just fucking leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, Lucy has either been unconscious, fever brain, or high every time you've done something like directly that would upset her. So it's fine. She'll wake up and still be in love with you. So, so you head for the meeting. So do you do anything to prepare for this meeting, Vander, before you go?
Yeah, I grab the little pin.
The pin, yeah.
Get like a little hooded cloak or whatever, something similar to what I saw those woodsy bros wearing.
Okay.
And then, my plan is to just like sit in the back and generally try to avoid notice, but observe and see what's going on.
Okay. Yeah. So when you arrive, there are a couple of kind of dangerous looking individuals standing outside, right? Waiting for kind of the sign. There's like 4 or 5 people outside, and you can hear more voices inside. And when you walk up, you get some looks. You get the like kind of up and down from some of these folks. These people seem to you. Actually, can you make a scrutinize test?
Yeah.
Just as like a general kind of like as you walk up impression.
Okay.
Nice. Got 10. Not bad. Okay.
Very good.
So the people outside are not members of the Peregrines. They are the prospects. So these are all locals that are standing around here, right? And so they're all kind of looking at each other like
they have
waiting
that
for the
look.
meeting to start. Yeah. And then inside there are those two guys, and they're probably like getting ready. And as you approach, one of the two of them comes to the door and says to the people that are standing around, he's like, "Why don't you come inside? We're about to begin."
Yeah, and Vander will be the last one into the room and just like I say, sit at the back.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you
come
in.
I'm gonna Aragorn my way through this meeting.
Yeah. Right. Now, do you want to? This would be where like I'd ask for an inconspicuous test, but let's try to find something similar, just so that you can be present, but nobody's gonna be like, "Yeah, what are you doing sitting at the back over there? Come on!" Like,
yeah.
Which is what'll happen if you fail, basically.
So I guess stealth.
Yeah, I guess so.
Unless I can, what's it? Where's my lying skill? Oh, it's just off the page here. Unless I can just use.
It would be guile, right?
No, I think in this case, you're not actively. This is stealth first, just to stay more or less like background character, so you can overhear.
I'm gonna re-roll that.
Okay. Yeah, seems like a good plan.
Seems like a very bad roll to me.
Yeah.
Come on. Under 40. Oh,
the worst. 85. Okay.
85.
All right.
So I think this is just what happens. It's not hostile. It's not like you're a bad guy. Get her. Like it's they gather up near the front. And you sit in one of the like further back pews, and one of the two fake woodsmen looks and is like, "Don't be shy, love. Come on up front."
Yeah. So then she'll walk up and grab a closer seat and be more.
Yeah. All right. So the two of them are sitting on the stairs that go up to the little stairs that lead up to the dais. And then everyone else is sitting kind of in the front rows of the two pews. There's less than a dozen people in here right now. There's the two guys and then like a half dozen of the other people. And so one of them goes to close the doors to the church. And the other one sort of starts the meeting. And he says, "Now you're all here because you know that our civilization has taken a wrong turn, that the way the world is now is not how it should be. Everything's upside down. Our rightful leaders, our kings, our queens, they're at the mercy of dogs, filthy revolutionary dogs. And that's no way to be. What's happening here in the world is not just a crime against the nobility. It's a crime against the very order of things. The God Emperor gave us our humanity and instructed us to rule over one another in the way that was preordained in his book. The nobles, you're supposed to be in charge. All this, chaos, sorcery, heresy, conspiracy. And there's some like whispering and people are like, yeah, we agree. Like that's bad. These things are bad. And they're not, you get the impression, Vander, that they're not here to convince you. They're here to radicalize people who already believe that, right?
Yeah, of course.
And so he says, you may have seen my companion and I in Crossroads once or twice before. And you're here because you're curious about how the world could be, about how we could turn this thing around. Go back. You must remember when you were children, how things were calm, safe, stable. Nobody makes money anymore. Nobody has safety. Nobody even goes to church anymore. The cities are a cesspit. We believe it's time to clean it up. Our patron, one of the last living nobles this world has empowered us to come and to find people who believe, people who can feel the fire burning in their heart for a better way. And he's looking and he's making eye contact with like each person. And he stops on you and he says, "Do you believe in the nobility? Do you believe in the great chain? Do you know your place?"
Yeah, and Vander smiles for all the wrong reasons, but he doesn't know that.
Yeah. Okay. And he says, "We don't care who you were. Maybe you were arrested. Maybe you were in jail. Maybe you did something in these last few years that maybe you're not proud of. Maybe something you pray for forgiveness for. You don't need forgiveness from us. These are dangerous times. We're forced to do dangerous things. All we need is your loyalty. That's all the nobles ever asked of you. That you respect them. That you do for them what they do for you. They protect you. We could all use a little protection, right? We have a place in the woods. Gathering people. Right-minded people. Smart people. Wise people. Real patriots of the Empire. You can get food. You can become trained. You can make a difference. You don't want to live here in this mud, this shithole anymore, do you? You can't go back to the cities. Those revolutionaries will capture you, put you in jail, cut your head off. No. Safe places are few and far between in this world. Isn't that right, friend? Again, looks right at you.
Yeah, I think I play along. I don't necessarily like stand up and hallelujah or something.
Yeah.
If that's what he's looking for, but I'm just nodding.
Yeah.
I think I'm just going to keep steady eye contact with him, but my goal is not to radicalize or be radicalized.
Yep.
I'm going to just get his attention for later.
Okay. All right. Let's have you make that guile test now. Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure I stick out in his mind and that he wants to come talk to me later.
Okay. I like. There's a comment in chat. Philip Huff said YMCA. I'm like, yeah. He starts his speech. Young man, there's no need to feel down. I said, young man. Pick yourselves up off the ground. So, all right.
Re-roll?
So no, you've got the attention, but do you wanna spend a point?
I'll re-roll.
Because you're gonna get his attention one way or another, but this is like, is it good or bad? Mm-hmm. Right.
Are he and I of different social station or not? Right.
I don't know. Maybe there's a chance. Let me roll. I think I still have the character creation handout. Because there is a chance that he could be higher status than you. Let's see.
That's hard for him not to be.
No, I don't have that table here. Okay. I'll just roll. Pick a number and we'll just roll percentile. No, they're the same as you. Yeah, they're radicalized lowborn rather than like, yeah. Okay. All right. Do you want to stand on that guile or do you want to reroll?
Yeah, I'll reroll. I don't think I have any relevant stuff that matters.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I was going to say statistically it should be in your favor, but I didn't want to jinx it.
Fair. Yeah. Okay. So you catch the eye of one of the two of them, maybe the quiet one, the other one that shut the door.
Yeah.
And so what happens is they do the spiel. They get everybody on board. Like people are like, yeah, I want to help. I remember when I was a kid, we could walk the streets at night and I'd never have to live in a crappy city like this. And somebody else is like, I had 2 goats once, and then the illuminated masters came and took my goats. And so they get them all fired up like that, and then at the end, I think the thing here is like, right, well, think it over, right? We're gonna come back, and when we do, everyone who's really dedicated, who really wants to go, be ready, right? Stop paying for your room, sell whatever you can't leave behind, pack a bag. We'll be back, right? And at the end of the meeting, he dismisses everybody, and then as they're getting up to leave, you see the two of them talking, right? And the guy that spotted you looks at you and he whispers something to the other guy. And the other guy says to you, he's like, why don't you stick around just for a minute so my companion and I can talk to you?
Yeah. She just like shrugs and finds a pillar to lean against or something.
Right. I'll just be here being cool. So yeah, everybody leaves, and then the two of them, the two peregrines, say, so what's your story? What brings you to Crossroads? To the church?
Looking for you.
They look at each other and like, well, lucky us. They kind of chuckle.
Yeah, and she has like a collar of her cloak or whatever, and she like slips it aside a little bit so they can see the little pin.
Yeah, okay.
We took from the dude.
Yep.
And then she like covers it back up.
Okay. Yeah, they look at it, and you see the two of them look at you, and they're doing the like, how did you get this? Should we know you? Like, did the intelligence chain reach back? And they're seeing if they recognize you. So I'm gonna make a roll. I'm gonna scrutinize you, and we will see if they recognize you from your appearance. So let's see. What is a good number to give these nerds?
I mean, they're lowborn. We already established that. They probably can't be good scrutinizers, you know?
Wow.
Never have to judge people.
Wow, Belvedere.
Extremely classes.
Okay. Let's see. So these guys are probably just trader knaves. Here we go. Human thug. A role-playing game classic. All right, so let's find these human thugs.
You know, just me and my fellow human thugs.
Yo, it's me, Jimmy the Thug. This is my buddy Frankie the Thug. All right, here we go.
Basic union.
That's right. Thugs Local 101. All right, they have scrutinize at 50%.
Okay. Who would fail a 50-50?
That's right. So you want me to get over 50 on this one?
Please do.
Oh, look at 94.
Look at that.
Thankfully, I've got all these anti-Masood points. I'm going to spend one.
At least he stays consistent.
Yeah, right. I can't roll anything lower than 90.
Ah!
Still a fail. All right. So one of them, when he sees it, and he says, don't I recognize you from somewhere? You don't look like you're from Philos, but he looks at the pin.
She just like shrugs. People can look all kinds of ways. I find mine helps me blend in anywhere I go, which is very useful, especially in this line of work.
He nods and says, where are you coming from? What are your orders?
And she smiles. Coming from the city, and I can't share my orders.
Fair enough. We've been on recruitment duty these last few months. Some months, there's no one. Others, desperate criminals, but you make do with what you have. There's room for everyone in the organization.
As long as they're willing.
I'd rather have 100 stupid zealots than one peasant that thinks they can rub two thoughts together.
Yeah, and she spares him a chuckle for his comment. And so there's the one that talks and the one that doesn't.
Yeah.
Am I understanding this correctly?
Mm-hmm. And while the one that talks is talking, the other one is just staring at you, steely-eyed, like he's trying to look through you.
Yeah. And so she's just going to fix him with she'll make eye contact with him. And I want to do the thing where he wants to sleep with me and therefore spends a little bit of alone time with me. That's what I want to do to this guy.
Okay. So
I give him a smoky look.
I was about to say, how are you going to signal your interest and availability to this guy without the other guy noticing and being like, no, stop it. We're not here for fun.
And she says to the one who talks, she's like, so you do recruitment, obviously. And then she looks the other. Does that mean you are the power behind the throne here?
And the talker guy, of course, shakes his head and he says, no throne, no power. Closest thing, prince. Everything goes the way it's going. That might change soon.
Well, here's hoping.
Nods. God willing, another year, maybe 2. all this mess is behind us. We can start punishing the people that turned on us.
Everyone gets their turn in the stocks, I suppose.
Yeah, if they're lucky.
And like all the time that she's talking to this guy, she's looking at the other guy.
Yeah, right. Okay. Making flirty eyes at him. Okay. Yeah, I feel like I get what you're aiming for. Let's put a roll on it, right? So you're basically trying to seduce the non-talky guy without the talky guy noticing and interrupting. So I think probably
Kyle, right?
there's an easy charm roll and then something else. Maybe talk me through what you would think it would be, and then we can.
I think for seducing people, like guile is a good way to go through it. I mean, the roll is going to be the same regardless of which skill I use, but I think
guile or charm.
Yeah, that's
right?
what I was thinking, right? Like in this case, I think charm would be like you're trying to actually get them interested in you, and you want to like you're showing your personality to try to like convince them. And then
here I'm just
guile,
using the trick, right?
yeah, guile is Vander pulling strings, and I think that feels more accurate in this case.
And so it's all like it's the split conversation of all my words are for the one guy and all my body language is for the other.
Yeah.
And then at some point, Vander makes her like excuses herself with the expectation that this guy will come and find her.
Okay.
Like he'll make some excuse to leave and then come join me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, let's see how it goes.
So just a straight up guile roll.
Yeah. I feel like you're doing this in a like particularly like you outclass these guys in terms of social manipulation just generally, and they're not expecting this. So I think give yourself an extra like a bonus of 10.
Okay.
Make it 10% easier, and we'll go from there.
And I embark upon the Chaos Plateau, Adam.
Mm-hmm. Hey, it pays off. So here's what happens. You are like, all right, gentlemen. Yeah, what do you say when you leave? Right? What is your parting line?
Yeah, I think she'll just say, well, I hope our paths cross again soon. And she just like says that to the one guy, but then looks at the other and smiles.
Yeah. And then walk out. And as you're walking out, you hear a couple of boot steps as the no-talkie guy goes to follow you. And then you hear, where the fuck do you think you're going? And then
and it's a voice I don't recognize. It's the other guy's voice.
No, this was so there's some footsteps.
Oh, I see. Sorry, he's saying.
Yeah, he's following you, and the other guy's like, "Where the fuck do you think you're going?" And you don't look, but the camera is on them, and the no-talking guy gestures at your back and like makes a face like, "Come on, man!" Like she's flirting with me, like, and he sighs and he's like, "Fine, but you need to be back before morning. We have to leave." And he looks upstairs and he's like, I'm going to take a nap. And he walks over and he goes up the stairs to where Lucia was. And the other guy, yeah, you hear him follow you as you leave. You hear his footsteps.
Yeah, and Vander doesn't look back at any point.
Yeah.
Because of course that would break.
Of course, that would ruin the whole thing. Yeah. Okay.
She walks like around the corner or something, and we can get to that another time, maybe.
Yeah, sure.
Unless you want to play this through. I
mean, we've got a little time, and I think there's any other pressing stuff, right? And you're looking for an important piece of information, so.
Okay, yeah.
We could always cut to the ups and downs of dog training. There's always a story that's available, and just providing that.
A different battle.
I'm so sorry you haven't had that much to do today, Masood.
No. I'm just it's for the arc of the narrative. Sometimes you gotta like release tension, and that's what it's there for. That's all.
Right.
Now all of the stuffed animals have like pieces of paper pinned to them that have names on them. And then Clifford is just like chewing on the Lucia one. You're like, no, Clifford.
No.
Friends aren't food.
The only other thing that I was
Don, if you have something you want to do.
Potentially doing was like as I'm babysitting essentially is to take a look at that book that Mr. Belvedere got from the Father Smile.
Oh, the horrific chaos spell book. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's extremely safe and legal.
But I will only present that as an option if the group is okay with some crazy stuff potentially happening.
That's totally cool. I think that's great.
I'm all for it. Yeah.
Okay, so
The only thing I really wanted to do was some feverish, delirious mumbling. So,
and maybe that could just add to the whole ambiance as I'm reading this awful tome.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if everyone's okay with that, I think I would want to at least look at it.
yeah.
Okay. So
Okay.
yeah, so I would think if that's okay, going back to the inn really quick.
Yep.
And
Do you remember, Masood, do you remember what I made you roll for corruption on reading the Forbidden Tome?
Resolve usually, isn't it?
No, there was like a number of corruption. I can't. It was just a generic die roll, so I don't remember.
I think I got like 7 just for reading it, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
That's fine.
Okay.
All right. So Don, you know it to be an artifact of the ethereal realm, right? That it contains
Right.
forbidden knowledge.
You rolled a d6, I believe, Adam, +1.
Okay.
So
you.
yeah, I think Dawn's back in the room, basically watching over Mr. Belvedere and Lucy, and at some point they both fall asleep. Thank God. And she pulls out this book because she like sits down and she feels the book in her satchel that Mr. Belvedere gave her, and so she'll pull it out. It was a really cool book, he said. So
yes,
Just try it, read it. It's great. I love it.
the exact sound clip plays in her head, like a
Yeah.
bubble over her head. It's
Come
great.
on.
Try it just once. So yeah, she pulls it out and we'll look
Okay.
at it.
All right. Well, as with Mr. Belvedere, you are exposing yourself to the powers of chaos.
Sure.
So let's see how much corruption you take for reading it.
From before, I
Yeah.
believe there was a resolve test
Yep.
first. Yeah.
Yeah. So make that roll. I was just getting the dice already. So make a
Okay.
resolve test.
Okay.
To see whether you succumb to madness.
Ah, nice. Okay.
Well,
All
I don't
right.
know. We'll
So
see.
you get the resolve test, which Mr. Belvedere
Yeah.
did not. So you're just going to take 1 corruption.
No,
Okay.
Mr. Belvedere did get it. He got a critical success. Am I looking at the
Oh.
wrong thing?
Maybe. Yeah, I think so, but yeah, it's fine. So
He got a
Okay,
success
he got
to,
a critical success on reading it, and so he was able to actually glean what it was.
That's
but he
right.
also got
So he took the
7
corruption.
corruption.
that's right. Okay. So yeah, you take the corruption just from reading it. It wasn't a resolve test it was a resolve test to steel yourself to force your brain to absorb the knowledge. Okay.
Because otherwise
Okay.
it would drive you mad.
That's right.
Right.
Masood, you're muted.
Okay.
Thank you, Blue Jay. Because the question was either I close the book or I
Yes.
continue reading.
That's
and
right.
So I had that choice brought
Mhm.
before me.
Okay. All right. And I assume, Don, since you already know kind of what might happen, you're gonna dig in and read the
Yeah.
thing. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So yes, you will take the corruption of reading this thing. You only take 4.
Okay.
So let's talk about it. It's a spell book. I mean, it's
Yeah.
full of like random blatherings and like insane scrawling, but there are spells in here. There are the things required to conjure the forces of chaos to do your bidding.
Okay.
How is learning new spells work?
There's a whole, I was looking it up.
Yeah, there's like a whole thing for it, right?
There's a whole thing for it. It might be like if I find something in there that I like, I could practice it. So
Yep,
there'd be
okay.
montage of me doing it. But I guess it would just be a matter of what's in there. Cause like as I'm reading
Yeah.
it, is it arcane or is it divine? Is there some sort of
Let me
alchemical or is there a god?
let me find the
Because I cannot cast arcane magic. I can really only do divine.
yeah. Okay.
So if it's a prayer book versus a spell book, essentially.
Yeah, so it's definitely, I guess this is the thing, right? Like the Smilers don't go around saying that they're a religion. They're like a family, right? So they
Okay.
don't pray to any god. So this is a book of sorcery, of arcane, arcane providence. And yeah, it contains some pretty nasty spells, 2 of which you've already seen.
Yeah.
Let me see. I wonder if I have. I put Father Smile because I can read the list for you if I can find his stat block in here. Let's see.
Okay. Because another thing is like, I mean, if it's arcane, it might not make sense to don how to cast any of it.
Yeah.
But maybe so
yeah, but there you are still able to like process some of the information to try to figure out like, because you know all the spells are named. Here we go, got it. All the spells are named like specific things. It's like the incantation to traverse the ways of dreams, or you know, like they have these long flowery names. So the spells that are in this this particular book are there are actually a few petty spells as well, because I think you can use those.
Yeah. Yes.
So the petty spells, and I think these are the ones you can understand. So you already have your equivalent of cack-handed grasp. There's dispel magic.
Oh, how wonderful.
Aegis, pinprick, and ye old magic missile. Yeah, the rest is sorceress nonsense to you, but you have to assume that in there somewhere are the spells that did what they did to Mr. Belvedere.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I assume that during this time, like I can just slide my little delirious ramblings that I wanted to do.
Yeah, like Dawn is in the room with you and Mr. Belvedere, and I assume Mr. Belvedere's sleeping or something.
I mean, Mr. Belvedere could also be awake for this. I don't care.
Sure, okay.
But there's a point at which Lucia comes up a little bit from her like high coma, stupor, delirium state, and she's still probably like coming down from the fever, and probably like half in sleep. Like this is kind of like the dream ramblings. And there's definitely a moment where she like whispers out loud, and Dawn, who's like staring at this book, would probably hear it because the room's been like quiet with like the dull echoings of downstairs. And she, Lucia is just like, Vander. And then like her face like squints, like something's paining her. And then there's the like, where did you go? And then like it's obvious like there's some dreaming happening where she's going back over like when she noticed that Vander left.
There's a really great scene in Mad Men that this is kind of reminding me of, when Betty is having her baby and she's all gooned out on the like epidural or whatever. And like the hospital room and reality are kind of like getting blurry, and she's all kind of like shouting for Dawn and he's not around. And I'm envisioning Lucia like kind of all sweaty and wide-eyed and like not really seeing what's happening.
Yeah. It's like I don't absorb that like the body in the bed next to me is Mr. Belvedere. I don't absorb that the large shadow in the room is Dawn.
Well, and Lucia, you're one of many kids, so you're definitely used to being.
Oh yeah, like we had like one big bed. Yeah. And it's just mumbling that's like whatever you could make out amongst the like pain, whatever. And I don't know if you like come over at all or if you just ignore it, but it's very much like, where did you go? Why did you leave? And like I did everything you wanted.
And so Dawn, Lucia, so Lucia's making this noise and you look over and you're reminded of the words of the old man. There's a pillow sitting right next to Lucia's face. And you just
yeah, Dawn stands up, walks
He's
over
standing
to the
outside
bed,
the window. Just smother her already.
puts a hand on the pillow and says, Vander will be back. It's okay. And then just wipes the sweat off of or Vander will be back. She'll be back. It'll be okay. And wipes the sweat off of her forehead.
And
then goes back.
There, honey. You're disgusting. I'm gonna go over here
and read my chaos magic.
Yeah, excuse me, I'm in the middle of learning the spell. Well, so this is a great point to jump in and mention the spell book, because you have all of Mr. Belvedere's getting better time to potentially learn how to conjure forth ye old magic missile. So okay, so I'll make that. Let's make it homework to figure out the like spell casting rules and stuff. We'll do that at the beginning of the next episode. So Vander, why don't we close on your scene with this guy with Silent Bob here?
Oh goodness.
So he follows you outside under the impression like, yeah, this lady likes me. She was making faces at me. All right, I'm excited. You know, maybe we don't have to go home yet. I can enjoy some company in town. And so, yeah, he follows you out. Where do you lead him to?
See, Adam, I haven't thought this through all the way. So now you're really calling my bluff.
Yeah, I mean, so the thing is, like, I'm also comfortable with you saying, I don't know what I was going to do yet. Give me a week.
So here's the thing. I know that he's expected to be back by his
Yep.
buddy because I heard them have that exchange.
Mhm.
So the plan isn't to like interrogate him at knife point or something.
Yep.
Because that would I don't want them to know.
I mean, my buddy just never comes back, right?
So what I'm actually going to do here is get him to spill the beans, whilst getting down, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
So Vander is going to continue the seduction, I think just in like the alley behind the church.
I envision
against the church wall.
Yes, because again, so like, and I'm glad that you brought this up because I was thinking probably, and I was going to ask you about this, but I think probably like the way seduction works in this context is just like he's unlacing his pants as he walks out the door. Like,
yeah,
and it's just like a quick in an alley somewhere. But yeah, I mean, you can get him to talk, right? You already succeeded at your role, so I think it's reasonable that he does spill the beans, because he's not that smart.
So I'll hit him with the classic line of like, "Did you get a chance to make your confessions in there?"
And
she's like, as she's like undoing her shirt or whatever as an invitation, right?
And he says in this like gravelly voice, he's like, "Oh, honey, there's no forgiving the things I've had to do."
Why don't you tell me all about it? And like, we can.
Yeah, right.
There.
Totally. Yeah. Okay, cool. So what we can do at the beginning is maybe between episodes, I'll just send you some stuff you learned, Vander, so that at the beginning of the next episode, you can return triumphant and be like, "Here's what I have learned," so that I don't have to just exposit it to you and then you tell the party.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
Great.
good.
Love
Killer. Okay, cool. So let me roll my corruption die for the episode.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah, we do. I got a 2. A big 2.
Ooh.
So
Wait, no,
Dawn
that's
definitely chaos rank, right? For
Yep.
reading the dark book.
Yeah, let me just look over these offenses really quick.
You drank laudanum, and
Which is
that's it.
1.
Yep.
Is there the chaos offense for
That's
being
not a no.
really high and feverish or
No.
getting
The injury is the
infection?
offense. No.
I already had the injury, I think.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
not even one more. Well, rip. Okay, I guess I'll take an order. God.
So let me before we go. So what we're gonna do at the beginning of the next one is basically montage the rest of the downtime. So like everybody will have a chance to kind of do something. But how many days was it, Mr. Bovadier, before you're back in fighting shape?
If I'm just resting, 9, because it was half of 18.
Okay. And then there's also laudanum available at 4 a dose that automatically bumps you up 1 if you want to expedite that process.
That's a good idea. But
No,
I
the
only
laudanum will only work on the damage track. It will not make his injury heal faster.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It'll make your damage too. You'll still have your injury, but like after that, if you want to help,
I was just saying,
back to
Oh,
action.
for sure.
Yeah.
I have
injury
10
is
gold.
why.
I have all I did was buy a dog, and that's it. So yeah,
That was like me. Didn't buy anything.
I just
I bought
love the idea-
rations and a dog.
I love
That's
the idea
it.
of like a bedridden Mr. Bolvadier tucking a gold coin in Clifford's collar and being like, "Go to the old man under the bridge and get me some drugs, Clifford. You understand?
Please.
Papa needs his laudanum, Clifford. Go on, good boy. Good boy. Go get that laudanum."
I forgot about the mushroom.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
You'll
You'll
have
hear
some
about
time.
it. We'll hear about it. Yeah.
There'll be an opportunity.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, so that's our episode. Next time along, we'll be back up and on our way to the nest in the woods, looking for that hawk in hiding. So I am looking very much forward to that. Thanks for coming, everybody. Let's do some shout outs. Blue Jay, why don't you start?
Hi, everybody. I'm Blue Jay. I'm doing one extra role-playing thing this week. So if you wanted to come and hang out on Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific, I believe, Adam and I are doing a 2-part Vampire the Masquerade. It's not a one-shot, it's a 2-shot. We're doing one of the intro adventures over on Gen Con TV. So that's rad. If you wanted to catch any of the other role-playing stuff I'm doing, you can find all of it on my Twitter over the week, or the things that I have done on bluejay.tv/portfolio. otherwise, I'm playing a lot of Animal Crossing. So if you're into that, check out my Twitch channel.
Very nice. Playing a lot of Animal Crossing. You and many, many other people on the earth. Cool. All right. Andrew, why don't you go next?
Yeah, I'm Andrew. You can follow me on Twitter at CommutingCrow or on twitch.tv/actualfactual. I would like to shout out the fact that tomorrow I am playing Stellaris with Distracted Elf on her channel, but that she is also raising money for Trans Lifeline for a portion of the stream, is kind of because they're doing that like rotating thing. So definitely tune into that and other folks supporting that charity. It's a very good cause and it's a cool thing that you can do is throw them some money.
Agreed. Cool. Masood, why don't you go next?
Sure. Hey guys, you can find me on the internet at Marudboy on Instagram, at Twitter. That's MAHRUDBOI. You can see what I've been up to during the corona quarantine. It's basically a lot of more cat content and a little bit more of Tiger King, but we can't talk about prominent TV shows till Wednesday on Jason Bourne Must Die. That's the pre-show to that one. But yeah, you can catch me on Wednesdays playing that. Yeah, that's about it. Guys, I just hope nobody else poops someplace in the find it. It's just like
I'm just
sending
gonna
good
hope
vibes.
that nobody else poops. That's great. That's good. I think Dawn wants everybody to stop pooping too.
Just
I think
stop
I don't mean to
all
alarm
the
y'all,
excrement.
that's concentrated
people
evil
poop.
coming out the back of you. Cut it out. Excellent. Thank you, Masood. Looking forward to seeing you again on Wednesday. Last but not least, Amber, take it away.
Hey, so yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Rocket Orca and find all the things that I do at either rocketorca.com or geekspective.com. I have a Magic the Gathering show that comes out on Mondays, and also my show Shapeshift comes out on Thursdays. I also have another show, Tales from Moxbury. We're playing Dungeon World now because we can't play in our studio, and it's been kind of sad, but we'll pick up Godbound whenever we can get back together. But Dungeon World miniseries right now. And then also exciting, I am starting to stream Shapeshift episodes. And the first one I'm doing is this Sunday at 4:30 p.m. At twitch.tv Geekspective. And I'm running Goblinville. And Adam's going to play.
That's right. I'm going to be a cool goblin or a shitty goblin or both.
Hopefully both. They're all the same.
They're
it's
the
going to
same.
be great.
Yeah, so yeah, we're gonna be playing some Goblinville, which is cool because I did a first look at it some time back and I was very excited about it. So it's cool to get a chance to do that. Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you everybody. Thanks for coming, and thanks to Zweihander for making this show possible. Go and check the game out if you like the chaos. If you're interested in the mechanisms, if you're enjoying watching the show, go and check the game out. Give it a play. I am going to be back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Pacific. And I'm going to be doing a special sort of pseudo tutorial Q&A thing, special episode of Office Hours, focusing entirely on Roll20. So if you are missing your in-person group and you're like, man, I have no idea how to use Roll20, come by, bring questions. I'll walk through creating a game, using modules, and then basically any other questions that everybody has in the audience. So that's going to happen tomorrow at 10. And then we
if someone is starting a campaign for friends and it's their first time DMing, that would be like the perfect thing.
Yes, that'd be a great thing for you to check out. So yeah, if you can come by tomorrow morning, it's at 10 a.m. Pacific, or it'll be live on Thursday morning on YouTube. So both good place to go check that out. Yeah, and then everything else, follow these fine people, go see what they're up to, and we will see you next time for more Eat the Rich. 2 episodes left. Come on back for those. All right, see you everybody. Have a good one.